Good morning. How are you today? It's a beautiful day out. I think that any time that you spend in nature helps reset you in this time of national dread, if you will. And because it's overcast, you can see the colors so much better. I think the orange that comes out, the leaves on the ground, it's like a rug of nature. So I'm not going to get too 60s on you, but I think that coming out into the forest like this reminds me of when, as a kid, I'd make my way to the Botanical Gardens. I just couldn't believe how splendid that was. And they had an arboretum that allows you to walk among this flora from all the various places. So there's a need to be connected to nature because it's where we come from. It's where we have to learn to participate. I thought Biden last night surprised me pleasantly when he spoke about the environment and global warming as an existential threat, and that he said what I think is obvious, but politicians don't usually say, which is that if we don't transition from petroleum sources to renewables, we put ourselves all at risk. Now, Trump, he immediately attacked, but I thought Biden was in the right place on that. And I thought it is important about global warming to be concerned and not to destroy what we have. Jefferson had this term usufructus, which I haven't thought of until this instant. And what it is that during our lifetime, we receive this benefit from nature, and we get to use it during our lifetime, this fructus, this fruit. But our obligation is to pass it on to the next generation as we found it. And we're not doing that. And that's pretty serious. I'll get to the debate in a minute. The other thing that was really important yesterday was that the Senate Judiciary Committee reported out the nomination of Judge Barrett to the Supreme Court. And it'll be voted on next Monday. I'm a genetic Democrat, but I disagree with the Democrats talking about the promise Republicans made in 2016 in the sense that we don't consider a nominee during an election year. A president can appoint a person to any number of positions at any time when he, and ultimately she, is in office. The argument in the Barrett case isn't about the timing of the appointment, although that is an issue to consider. It's about the abuse of power involved in this particular nomination, a person who is being appointed to take specific views and to supplant the laws that exist, the precedents, and the worst part, to protect Trump should he challenge, as we expect, the election in a few weeks. So I think that's the critical distinction. And I think we miss the point when we don't go to the Constitution and talk about the real offense here. Of course, the other point that I touched on is the debate last night. Biden did very well. It was his to lose, and he didn't. He stood his ground. But more than that, he showed a familiarity with the content. And you probably feel as I do, when you see a man or a woman taking a stage and they're competent and comfortable with that visibility and the pressure, that's the kind of person that you want as a leader. And Biden shows that. Trump, on the other hand, not so much. Trump said we're going to have to, quote, live with the virus. And Biden, I thought, came back rightly and said, no, we're going to die with it if you don't do something about it. Trump talked about the economy. Biden says, slow down. Like Obama said, you compromised the good economy we gave you. Trump repeatedly said the kinds of things he does at a rally, which means he's only talking to his ever-thinning, less secure base. Biden, I thought, was speaking to the nation. And when he said at the end, should I be elected, I will be the president of all the people. I'm not going to select people. I'm not going to select groups. I'm going to deal with everybody. Whereas we know Trump is not built that way. So I think that we're on a good vector. We have to keep at it. And what you have to do is, if you haven't, and you probably have by now, vote. But see if there's still one other person you can get to vote, and contribute $5 or $10. It still matters, especially the Senate races, and try to get some of this nature. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.